All right, and we are live. Happy Monday to everybody. It is 12 o'clock. We're about an hour and a half off, and Chris is going to be doing some jumping jacks to keep the lights on over there. But hope everyone had a great Easter. Thank you so much for coming on today, Chris. Coming down from Texas, you said?
Yeah. I'm in Plano right now.
So Plano, Texas. Awesome, man. Well, how was your weekend?
It was really good. Very relaxing. Got to spend some time with some friends and just hung around. It was really quiet. It was great.
Yeah, and then last week, unfortunately, I had to miss it. But you had Flying Friday.
We did.
And there's a special guest on Thursday too, right?
Yeah, that was great. It was a guy named Jeff King, and he does communications. He does like different types of communication styles where you're able to actually learn from other people and learn the way that they like to be communicated with. It was really effective. It was great.
Was he using disc profiles or something completely different?
Something completely different. I'd never seen anything like it before. And, it was just one of those, this is going to be a lot of fun. It was one of those, it was something I didn't even know it was a thing. And it was so very enlightening. I'm never dialed in for more than an hour at a time, maybe. And I was on the edge of my seat for, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 hours, something like that. It was great.
That's awesome. We had a guy come out to an event in Nashville about 6 months ago, Michael Burnoff. He wrote the book Average Sucks.
Yeah.
But same thing. I mean, the way he was communicating with us, it was funny because he'd start a story and then 30 seconds into the story, he'd jump to a different story. And then he'd go back to another story and then come back, and it just kept coming back to it. But every time you're like, wait, I just want to finish that one. Like, and just kept you engaged and wanted to know what's going on. But that's the way that he was able to keep the audience's attention. So it's pretty cool delivery how that works.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was, I've never seen anything like it before. It was great. Should have missed it. You shouldn't have missed it, man. You should have been here.
I know. I couldn't get a sitter for the kids, and they're kind of a priority. So,
of course, yeah.
It's unfortunate. So how was Flying Friday, though? How did everything else go?
It was great. Like I said, we're in the new building now, and so it's massive, man. And they did such a good job. I don't know if you can definitely see the Einstein stuff behind me here. This is just one of the many, many, many rooms that are completely custom, and the creativity here is just off the charts.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we know if Ryan Stewman is going to do it, he's going to go all out. So
big time.
And for our listeners who don't know, we're talking about Apex Entrepreneurs, Apex Executives coaching group founded by Ryan Stewman. And I did not know about Apex until it was a little over a year ago. It's like right around March, and David Carroll had posted or shared a picture of Ryan and Amy on a runway next to a jet, and it was a really good post about marriage, which was about 3 years too late for me to read on. But the post was inspiring, and I'm like, Dave, who is this guy? Like, is he good people? He's like, yeah, definitely need to get to learn him, find out about him. And then I just dove deep into Apex, Stewman, and all that. And it's not even a month and a half later, I believe, I was all in on Apex Executives. And then in June, I was down at MDM down in Texas. And I mean, that was a career changer for me, was just being able to get in with the right people and talk about real business strategies and growth and mindset and just the whole mentality of the way everybody in Apex communicates compared to some of these other groups that I'm in. It's just incredible because it's all about winning. It's all about how we help each other. It's not just me. Right.
What are some of the other groups that you're in?
Just, the local community groups for pressure washing, for Christmas lights. I was in another coaching group called Conquer, which was phenomenal for me. It was able to accelerate our growth starting in 2019. So that was very pivotal to getting us to where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, we kind of outgrew it. And now I'm focused all in on Apex, and I will be at Flying Friday in May. So I'm looking forward to seeing you out there and everybody else out there. Yes.
I'll be here for that. Hey, do you mind if I just move over 1 second?
Whatever you got to do, man. Whatever you got to do.
Get some more consistent lighting. I can show you guys the room too while we're in there.
That is incredible.
It's sick, man. This is one of the breakout rooms that we have, but there's some more consistent lighting over here. So that way
you don't have to do the jumping jacks.
I don't have to do the jumping jacks anymore. So we'll set. Okay, cool. Is this better?
Yeah. All right. So while we're talking about Apex, how long have you been in Apex?
A little over a year and a half now. So I joined in September of 2021.
Okay.
It was, yeah, I just, I found it online. It was just like everybody else, looking for something that was missing. A lot of us entrepreneurs are unicorns, and it's tough to find other people that share the similar values and have the same work ethic and really understand you. So yeah.
Yeah, I love the whole Apex platform, the way they deliver it. It's got the different levels to join in, and just depending on where you're at in your entrepreneurial stage. But
Mm-hmm.
the executive level is just incredible, and it's just a
It
bunch of
is.
players, and to be in a room with all those, I mean, everybody in that room is just phenomenal. You're never gonna lose being there.
Right. Yep.
Well, cool deal. You're going to MDM. I think you saw you got your tickets for that already, right?
Yeah, I got my tickets, and I'm going to be bringing one of my employees with me, and
Nice.
she's excited to go to kind of see what this place is all about. And so yeah, I'm excited for that. It's gonna be great.
Awesome. Good deal. All right. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
Yeah, so with me, I got into outsourcing a couple years ago. Obviously, I've started my entrepreneurial journey whenever I was a kid, like most of us did, and with lots of different businesses along the way. Some worked, some didn't. Fortunately, I've never exited a business without a profit. So, so that's fun. Even like just the breaking even. Like I had a party bus business in Tampa. This is awesome, by the way. This yeah. So I had like a party bus business in Tampa for a while, and we got out of that by the skin of our teeth. I tell you what, it was something that we started because I was 22, 23 years old living in Tampa, and why not, right? So
Yeah.
rather than renting limos on the weekend, we said, hey, let's just go ahead and buy. We bought an old school bus and upfit it, and then
Nice.
I actually traded my boat for another, like a mini version, right? So we had two going simultaneously. Definitely learned a lot about people there. And at the same time, I started a credit card processing company, right? I was going door to door for about 15 years, and I scaled that with using virtual assistants. I was at a conference, learned how to delegate and outsource some of my customer service and some of the things that I just really didn't need to be doing if I was going to scale my business the way I wanted to. One thing led to another. I started helping some of my friends, right? Then I helped some of their friends. And I said, hey, I'm pretty passionate about this, being able to help entrepreneurs, but then also give an opportunity to somebody in another country to kind of get up out of an income bracket and into another one. It's been really fulfilling for me, and that was something that was unexpected whenever I started that. But I feel like that's the most favorite part about the job that I have now.
That's awesome. And then so your VA company is called
Elevate Outsourcing right now. Probably looking at rebranding to something a little bit more. What we're finding is in our niche market, the word outsourcing, it's not even really true what we're doing, because we're technically insourcing the way that our business works. So probably switch it to another name that's a little bit more palatable.
Okay. And your main niche for the VAs, is it one specific area? I know you got us a video editor. So
yeah, over the years, we've been doing it for almost 2 years now. And I really wasn't sure which direction we wanted to go in the beginning. Obviously, we needed more data. We needed more customer sets. We wanted to see what was working and what wasn't. And what we found to be pretty effective for us is the higher level executive assistants. So these are the people with usually 5 to 10, 15 years experience, something more, that's going to be working alongside of your CEO, almost kind of like your personal director of operations, if you will. And then we kind of lucked into 3D rendering for general contractors and kitchen and bath remodelers. Wow. So it's kind of a strange combination, but it works.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm sure that's very underutilized in the stateside, just because of how much it would cost to hire somebody like that. So that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The average 3D renderer, right, that does CAD and things like that, is between $80,000 and $100,000 here stateside.
Wow.
And yeah. And then you still have to deal with people problems, right? Like, I wouldn't say American people problems, but maybe not the best work ethic here, right? In terms of, so, you find somebody over there that's equally qualified, if not more so, that really appreciates the opportunity for the most part, right? I'm not trying to put anybody from, in any country down, but what we found is the quality of product for the price, definitely outweighs the negatives.
Yeah, so we've used your company. We hired Belt, our video editor. I guess it's
How's
video.
he doing?
He's awesome. I mean, he's phenomenal. I'm so glad we were able to get him. I found the process for your hiring with your team was pretty amazing. The whole onboarding, the screening, the communication throughout the whole process with Aaron and everything. So it's definitely a phenomenal service. I've used another VA company as well, Melody, who's got my EA Alex, who's been incredible as well. So it's nice to see the comparisons of how you guys both do things. But I'd say, the one thing that very comparable is the communication through the whole process, from the figuring out what I needed for my intake, and then to go through the process for you guys to screen them, and then vet them, and then do the interview, and then the onboarding. So
for sure.
You definitely, how many VAs do you have working with you right now, roughly?
Well, so we made a couple shifts whenever we niche down. So directly for us, for the team that we have here in the States, I think we have 16, give or take. We downsized a little bit whenever we decided to stop recruiting for everybody. And then overseas, I believe we have close to 40 clients now. So wow. We're growing steadily and slowly, but it's good. It's predictable.
Yeah, you want to fine tune it and get it right instead of trying to do a whole bunch and then have too many issues. So focus on what you're good at, get rid of the rest, and then grow from there.
And I tell you, it's really hard to it's really hard to say no to people, especially when they want to give you money, right?
Yeah.
So it's difficult, but it's necessary for sure.
Yeah. So are you still doing what did you have for me where I was hired into your team and your team was doing all the branding for me?
Yeah, that was a social media service that we did for a little bit. Honestly, we weren't very good at it, right? And I do appreciate, you being, you provided us feedback, right, as to where we needed some assistance, right? And what we found out was just branding is just not our thing. It's really hard and it's really subjective, right? And me coming from, I don't really understand branding myself too well. So it's, it was definitely a service that, it was one of the ones where whenever we first started, somebody was like, hey, we want to give you money to do this. And we said, absolutely. Yeah, we'll figure it out, right? And then it turned out to not be the best fit for us. So, lesson learned.
Yeah. Yep. I learned a lot from it too, as far as the brand book and all the things we need to do. So it wasn't I wouldn't chalk it up as like that was just a complete waste of time at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was book and
we learned a lot from it. Yeah, for sure.
So tell me a little bit about you and what you're doing, because I've seen you do some videos, and when we've talked, you asked me, why am I doing this or how am I doing this, and something you want to start doing yourself. But I've seen you do some videos, which are freaking incredible. I love it. It's fun. It's, I mean, you're real, you're you, and they're engaging. So what's going on with that? And what's the plan for the future? Are you going to do more?
Yeah, of course. I kind of took a step back from it. We had some that did really, really well in the Philippines. And whenever we brought on a lot of the video editing clients, obviously paying clients take priority. And so I stepped back a little bit from doing them, but I have 20 or 25 loaded up, ready to go again. More focused this time. We're taking an education first standpoint instead of like your sales pitch type stuff. And this is what you're doing here is great, right? So what I am interested in, I'm starting a podcast as well, and it's just tough to get started, right? And so what I'm looking at here is, man, you got a great format going that I really think you can check off a lot of boxes at the same time, and be able to really grab a lot of content, from what you're doing here. Plus, you're getting really good at interviewing people, which is a very important skill.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just supposed to be me on the lives. And then people were like, hey, I want to sign up and go live with you. So that was incredible because it got rid of the fear of me talking alone, which was the fear I was supposed to get over. But I'm very introverted. And when I'm out in spaces, especially in Apex and things like that, like I go do the thing, I'll talk to a couple people, but then I got to step away and just kind of breathe for a little while and get my focus back. And this has been fun being able to get on here, talk to people. And I just keep scaling it. Like I say, everybody 1% better every time is trying to figure out how we can make this format simpler. I got usually 2 or 3 questions I like to ask, figure out what your goal and purpose is in life and how you could possibly benefit somebody else. So with your VA process, out servicing or in servicing, it's just an incredible shift in being able to use VAs. And I love virtual assistants. I think they're they're just great for all companies. It doesn't matter what size you are, whether it's answering the phones, doing admin or executive stuff, or like I said, we have Belt doing the video editing. It's been a phenomenal resource to utilize overseas. And once you get past that stigma or the thought that you're paying them so low and realize that you're actually doing them a service for the amount of money that we are paying them, it's very rewarding to want to hire more of them.
Of course. And if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of, try to put another stigma to bed too. And what we've found is sometimes they're not received very well because some people think that you're coming into their business with the intent to replace. And in most cases, that's really not the case, right? It's a lot of the times we bring people in to assist and to be that ancillary partner who can come in and really, really throw gas on the fire, if you will. So that way you can let the people that you hired to do what they're really good at. And then you have an executive assistant, or you have, somebody that's doing these drawings, or you have somebody that's there, as a resource, as opposed to somebody that comes in and, they think, oh, we're going to come in and replace our entire workforce from these people overseas. And, when you kind of shift your mindset and look at it that way, it becomes a really powerful tool.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alex, she's been just a big, huge help for me in the back end. I don't know if you got the email, but the whole format for this right now is really been a lot of Alex's doing, like coming up with questions to ask, sending out the emails to everybody that's coming on these lives, doing the daily post with the little fun facts and stuff like that. So she's evolved this into a lot more than it was originally, but that was all her creative brain space right there, which is nice to see her. What's the word I want to say? But just empower herself to make the best out of this for me. And she's always there every single day. Just, hey, JC, what do you need? You need to be doing this. So just a phenomenal resource, great tools to have, and just wonderful people that really genuinely care. And they want to grow with you and learn. If there's something that they don't know, they'll figure it out. And and they love helping.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have a VA, get with Chris. He's got a great service for you right there. They do all the hard work for you, and they'll find that match for you just to take a little bit of that workload off you so you can focus on the big things and the more important things. And for the amount of money you're paying, you can get 2 or 3 of them for somebody local. And it's just not trying to knock out local. I love hiring local, but the quality is just incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
So real quick, talk about the processing. You still doing that? What is that called? And how does that work?
Yeah, so the payment processing business is my baby, right? I've been approached multiple times, to sell it, and I just can't get rid of it, right? The service that we're doing is great. The residual income that we're able to make is fantastic, and so it's called Payment Pilot, and very similar to the executive assistant and VA business. What we did was about 5 years ago, I niched in. I used to go door to door. So I would door to door. I'm going to beat your rate, race to the bottom type stuff, right? And what I found was, finding referral partners in a certain industry, which happens to be home services, right? So we deal with a lot of contractors, a lot of roofers, a lot of renovators, a lot of remodelers, things like that. But then we went even farther down to where we only work with national franchises that have more than 50 locations.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And what I found from there is, it becomes a lot easier to service the customers. It becomes a lot easier to sign them up. It becomes a lot easier to explain the process and the pricing, because now you're not all over the place, where historically in that business, it's, hey, let me see what I can write you at, right? I'm going to try to make as much money as I possibly can. And what that does is that completely eliminates that from the equation.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So franchises with 50 more locations. That's good to know.
In the home services industry. Yeah.
All right. That's not me. Not yet. All right. So question for you. What are some of the most effective strategies you have used to grow your business? I mean, you say you started at your baby a long time ago. So what is the big things that you've used to be able to scale and change the way you do things?
Time management, number one. Like I said, whenever I first started the business, I did everything, right? I was doing sales, I was support. If somebody needed paper, I would get in the car and drive, however far it was. And a lot of the times when you're going door to door, you're not staying like super local. So there would be times that I'd be driving more than an hour one way, right, to go deliver paper to somebody who may have only been, it may have only been making us, I don't know, $50 a month, something like that. Not to say that there's anything wrong with doing that, but it was there was a whole lot of different ways I should have been using my time.
Burning yourself out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's been a couple of industry shifts over the last decade where, like, whenever chips came in, remember when EMV came in, every single one of my customers, there was more than 500 of them, had to have the machine swapped out, right? That was a really challenging time for me because I was still doing it by myself. And so I wasn't able to sell. Everybody was really angry, right? Most people at the time, like obviously chip and tap now, everybody loves it. But in the beginning, right, it was a really tough, it was a really tough transition because people just, they just don't like change.
Right.
And even though it was faster and more secure, you had a lot of people that were just, wholeheartedly against it. And that was a challenge in itself. And that was where I learned how to delegate.
It's funny because in Europe, everything is just tap the phone, tap the phone. And it is so simple. When I was out there, never had to pull my wallet out, just tap it, walk away. And it makes sense. And now I go places and they don't have it. I'm trying to tap it. I get frustrated. I'm like, why can't you get with the times?
Right.
Make
Absolutely.
my life easier.
Silly Americans.
Yeah. We're always behind the curve on technology.
For sure.
All right. So time management, that's a good one. So you got the VA, the processing company. Obviously you have a team in multiple locations. What's one thing you're doing to keep the culture alive, being so distant or remote for them, to keep them wanting to come in and keep them wanting to work with your companies?
Yeah, so that's gonna be the mission statement and the core values that are coming in. We base every decision off of those, and we've fired people that don't fit. It's also putting a great leadership team in place, because at the end of the day, right, you have to have that hierarchy where I'm not involved in every single decision, because you can't scale a company that way. And so, being able to put people in places where they're going to succeed, where they have experience, where they're really, really good at the things that I'm not good at, or maybe the things that I don't even want to do. That's how they keep the culture strong. And they do things on Fridays, like Friday happy hours, where they all get on Zoom and I've seen them like watch movies and stuff, which is a little weird to me, but it's okay. Sometimes we play games, which is really fun. We have Patricia, who's one of the people in HR. She loves to put together like trivia type games, and so we compete against each other. Yeah, it's fun.
I was talking to Dan. He was on last week, and he gives away awards for his team. They're all virtual too, and he'll give away what is it? Casual Fridays, even though everybody works from home.
Yeah.
Employee parking, even though they're parking in the house. So he does all these like fun gifts that just have no purpose or value, but it's just kind of fun to be able to say, "Hey, I won this one this week."
Right.
But it's just all part of that fun and that culture thing. So
yeah, that's fantastic.
Good. I like the trivia thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm not good at it. I lose every single time. So, it's really, to that point, what's really impressive to me is that, English, they're all very, very proficient at English, right? It's their second language, and it's very close to, but to be able to completely work in your home country in a different language all the time, including playing games and things like that. I kind of, sometimes I forget about how challenging that would be, right? To be, I don't know. I guess it's just because, we grew up hearing English and English only most of the time.
No, I mean, when I talk to Alex, it's, it's just, it flows. Everything's great. I understand everything. And it's just incredible that they usually are bilingual out there, but I could barely speak a little bit of Italian, and they're speaking both languages very fluent.
Going in and out of them too. And most of them speak Spanish. Most of them speak, more than one language. And it's crazy to watch them go in and out sometimes. I think it's really impressive.
All right. So if we were to go back 10 years and talk to Chris 10 years ago, what is one thing that you would tell yourself to do differently coming up the ranks?
It's funny. I literally was thinking that in the parking lot at Costco this morning. I had to go get a desk. And they didn't have the desk that I wanted, so I ended up just getting a picnic table, like one of the ones that fold in half. I don't need much though, but so that's my temporary desk for right now. It's going to be a
Nice.
picnic table.
So you can have lunch in there.
Yeah, exactly. If they throw a barbecue out back, I got the table covered, so it's no big deal. I was thinking about that, and you talk to a lot of people that say, I wouldn't change anything, and it's bullshit, in my opinion, right? You would obviously change something. I think for me, one of the things that I've been really struggling with over the years, but have drastically improved on, is being able to control my emotions. I think that when you're running a business, especially one that's your baby, essentially, there are times when I find myself very emotionally attached to certain things, to the point where I'll almost take something. Well, there have been times where I've taken things very personally, and I shouldn't have. So I do think, and then that also carries over into personal life and things like that. I really do believe, because you see some of these great leaders out there, and they're so stoic, right? Think about like Elon Musk, think about Jeff Bezos, think about any of these CEOs, Warren Buffett, those are just the people that are at the very top. But think about all the ones that maybe aren't as famous. They're able to separate personal and professional very, very well. And I think that's one of the most important traits of a good leader, is to be able to control your emotions and really separate personal from professional.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's hard, especially with a new company or
hard.
something that, you're trying to release it to team members and let them do the work that you're doing. You're so emotionally attached to that service, that skill set, because you want it to be perfect, like you were doing the whole time.
Right.
And then you're expecting perfect, and every time it's not perfect, you're like, why not?
Why?
Can't you do the way I did it? And you just need to understand that it's not always going to be that way, and it can get done, just not the exact way you want to do it. So
done is better than perfect in most scenarios. And I think that when you realize that, and realize again that it's just part of it's part of business. And yeah.
Because I remember, and also like, guys would lose equipment and break stuff all the time, and I just get so frustrated.
Right.
But then once I realized, that was a $30 part, they just made me $1,500 today. We can fix it. Let's train to it. Don't let it happen again. And just all that wasted stress and time and energy. So once you learn to check those emotions, for me, it'd definitely be stepping out of my comfort zone. I mean, I've always been comfortable with everything I did throughout the last 10 years, like just status quo, increase, scale, and grow, but not do anything else. And then really MDM and joining Apex last year is when I really opened my eyes up. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much more out there than just a small home service business. Because once you're a pressure washer and you do $1 million, you're at the pinnacle. You peaked, and that's about it. And then I was like, wait, HVAC's doing $1 million in a month, and all these other services and stuff. So being on a network and just get uncomfortable, or comfortable being uncomfortable, has been fun for me.
Yeah, there's always somebody that's going to be. I always want to be like I don't want to say the dumbest person in the room, but I try to want to be the poorest person in the room, and the dumbest, right? Because there's just so much to learn. And when you get into groups like this, and there are a lot of others out there that are similar, right? But it's you get around a certain level of player, and you realize there's just so much more out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the first time I stepped into Flying Friday, I was like, it was imposter syndrome. Like, I don't belong in this room right now. Like, what am I doing here when you got all these power couples, these elite friggin' business owners and everything, but knowing that your worth belongs there, and you can provide value for them too. So
yeah, I still struggle with that daily. It's, especially moving into this office, here today, it was wild to be able to like, okay, I'm here, right? I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and hang out in the corner.
That's right. Just take it all in and just listen. Just put your ear up next to Ryan's door and see what he's saying.
Yeah.
Get the old cannon string so you can hear it all. All right. So I usually like to end these conversations with just a random question. So cool. What is the most unusual skill or talent that you possess?
Unusual skill, or I'm like, okay, this is usually I'm pretty good at thinking on my feet, and this one got me. Unusual skill or talent. I mean, I don't know if you call it a talent, but I can kick a football pretty far. I don't know, like that's, I never played football growing up. I played soccer, but whenever I was in college, I had delusions of grandeur that I could walk on to University of South Florida football team, and I never tried it. But but I obviously I don't believe I believe it would have ended poorly for me. But I still used to go out on the weekends to the local high school field and kick footballs. I don't know, so I haven't done that for a while. But yeah, I mean, I think I've kicked a 65-yarder before.
Nice.
So yeah, I was off a tee, right? But still, I mean, I'm assuming probably farther than most could.
Oh, you got Dallas right up the street, the old Cowboys. Why don't you go see if you get a walk on?
We used to joke. I used to joke with some of my friends that we say that I should stand outside of it. And Raymond James, which is where the Buccaneers play, they said you should just stand outside the stadium and try to punt balls. So,
I wasn't sure if you're going to do your talent for that video you sent me a couple weeks ago with the hat on.
Oh Lord, I forgot about that. That there may have been a couple beers involved in that.
I was going to load that up and share that for everybody, but I didn't want to put that out there. So that's top secret.
I ended up sending that to a lot of people. I sent it to you by accident, right?
Well, you had messaged me about something. You're like, oh, wrong person. And then you made one for me.
Yeah. Because I was like, I think I meant to send it to Carson or something. And then I was like, oh, shit, I just sent this to JC. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and make him one too.
Oh, it was awesome. It was epic.
Yeah. Cool, man. I appreciate that.
All right, Chris. Well, I appreciate you, man. Hey, keep driving forward. I know you want to do some more videos, more content. All you got to do is do it. I mean, it's a scary leap, and I'm still not
for sure
with it yet. But I know once you do it, the way you do things and the way I've seen you execute on things, it's going to be friggin' phenomenal. So
yeah,
get that podcast up if you need help. I'm sure we have a ton of resources in Apex. We know that already. So I look forward to hearing more about that and seeing that. And thank you so much, Chris. And if anybody needs a phenomenal VA, get with Chris, and him and his team will get you started.
Great. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, buddy. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.